and discussed on a stream here. And then I'm going to gradually head home through the woods. Now it's got a bit dark with a torch to see what we can see, so I thought we'd do that on the stream as well. So you might remember from last week we found, amongst some other things, a caterpillar, which I thought at the time was probably silver Y, a species of moth that is a migrant to Britain primarily. It can breed here successfully in summer months, but once it gets to winter it tends not to cope with our winters, so it tends not to survive. So I thought, for two reasons, well, for one reason mainly, I'd keep that caterpillar here, which is to check my identification was right, but also because given the time of year it probably wouldn't make it on its out in the wild, so I'd see, save its life as it were. But mainly I want to see what it is, check that I'm right in my identification, check that it is what I think it is, so I'm going to veer it through. Hopefully it'll emerge, or if it doesn't emerge, hopefully it'll produce a really cool and exciting parasite instead. I checked today and it had successfully pupated today. It turned into a pupa, so I thought we'd briefly have a look at that. Hello Haps Radio from London Bridge. So the caterpillar is at the moment is in a pot here. I will turn the camera around and we can have a look at it. Well, it's not a caterpillar anymore, of course. As I said, it's now pupated. So I'll open that up and take out the leaf that it was on. And as you can see, hopefully, it has produced a bit of a silken spinning, and inside that turned into a pupa. So at some point in the next day or two, I'll transfer this into an emergence cage, sort of mesh cage to emerge from. It will not be likely to come out in the next day or two, so I will be okay to just leave it in the pot for now. And that will, at some point, emerge. I will keep it indoors, because it probably, as if it's what I think it is, it won't cope with our weather conditions outside, so I'll keep it indoors, and it may well emerge quite soon in the next week or so, because it's indoors and nice and warm, and that tends to accelerate things. So that was the caterpillar we looked at last week, and I said I'd keep it and have a look at it. What I'm going to do now is start to wander off into the woods with a torch, with a net. Well, not with a net because I'm holding this, but with a torch, and see what, if anything, we can see flying around in the dark. Any insects, anything else going on. Haven't really checked what conditions are like at the moment, so I'm not sure. It was a bit cold early on, which is not ideal for finding insects, but you never know. Sometimes we can find things and sometimes we can't. So that's what I'm going to do. Stick this bag on my back and head towards the door. So it'll just be a moment. Once I get out of the building and walk towards the wood, the phone is going to jump over onto the cellular data. So there'll be a bit of disruption or pause whilst I do that, whilst it switches between them. So it'll go a bit pixely, it'll go a bit broken up when I'm first doing that, but then it'll click back on, because Haps handles that quite well. Just shutting the door now. I'm going to head out in just a moment from this bluebell centre here. So, just to give people an idea where I am, I'm in Perivale Wood. Perivale is in northwest London. For those of a London-based persuasion, it's in Zone 4 on the Central Line. Just put the alarm on, bit of noise whilst the security system kicks in. Sorry, it's rather annoying, isn't it? But there we go, we're outside now. I'll just lock up securely, keep the building secure, and we'll start to have a wander into the woods with torch, see what we can see. So hopefully you can see the torch beam ahead of me, and we'll see if there's anything flying around. Quite a nice clear sky tonight, actually. Various planets. I doubt you can see them on maps. Various stars and planets. Right, hopefully we've now dropped back onto the cellular signal and you're with me again. You can hear a carrion crow shouting. There's quite a large roost of carrion crow in this reserve, in this wood. Probably around about 1,000. We do a count of them once a year where we try to systematically estimate how many of these birds are coming into the wood. So it's to see if anything is flying or notable on the trees or otherwise worth pointing out. Like all wild broadcasts, of course, it's up to the animals whether they turn up. It's up to here's a woodlouse, a couple of woodlice, type of crustacean, and they tend to feed